to add to that, I think that one thing that we can do as a community and that we all can do individually is when we look around our country, when we look around our city, oftentimes disagreements damage those personal relationships. And I think the most valuable thing that we have is our relationships with each other. So if I have a disagreement with, say, Alicia at work or something having to do with the city, it is very, very important to me that that relationship is not damaged by whatever that particular issue is. Because there will be 30, 40, 50, 60 more situations that if Alicia doesn't feel like she can call me or sit down with me, that's how we become further and further divided. And I think, you know, we live in a very kind of tribal time in America where you're either on this side or that side. But if we really want to convince people, if we really want to make them better listeners, I think we need to look at how we deliver our voice through our tone, as far as, do we sound condescending? Do we sound as if we are putting the other person down? And if I was the other person, would I think that the other person was being condescending? Sometimes I hear people that I really, really, really agree with in the merits of what they're saying. And all I do is I walk away thinking that person used a tone that was completely condescending about it, to a point that if you didn't 100% agree with them, you probably would not want to agree with them in the future. And just like learning how to disagree and remembering that our relationships with each other is the most important thing we have in solving these issues, I think was worth mentioning. We had another questioner over here.
You asked what we personally got out of this production today, and I got several things out of it. The first thing I want to mention is change. Change happens. Sometimes it's major, sometimes it's minor. Something like a job and your whole career and a family with 300 years in the Bethlehem Steel is devastating. I think what we have to realize is, from childhood, that these changes happen. And we have to teach our children that things are going to happen throughout life that are going to change, and we have to teach them, our children, our youth, ourselves, about detachment from the things of this world. And I would say that change itself comes often from the youth in our community. I was thrilled to see youth and at least one child in this production. And I found that his purpose in the play at the end, which was so uplifting, was that he found hope in the younger generation. The younger generation brought him back, brought him out of his depression, his lack of will to live. And, you know, the youth are just so important and gave him purpose. And sometimes we think of community in a lot of different aspects, and sometimes we forget to consider our young people. My husband and I were at a dinner the other night, and we were talking about how can we involve more millennials. There were no millennials at the table. There are no millennials up on the stage right now. There were millennials in the production. That generation is rich with resources. I'm a psychotherapist in Bethlehem. I work with children and youth. What they can contribute is absolutely amazing to our communities. And they are the future. We will all be gone. They will be here. And what we teach them today, what we show them today, we need your input, I think would be invaluable.